we met for the first time in February of this year.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You invited me to a workshop in your clinic.
Yeah.
And in spring, we did an interview. I asked you questions about pain, how to deal with pain, and if there's some exercises that make it easier to get into the Zazen posture. And then you invited me to a second workshop, which was in June, and the topic was how to focus during Zazen. And all of these videos you can find both on Didier's channel and also on my channel. And on Didier's channel there are lots of exercises that can help you to stay flexible.
I did some exercises especially for your audience. So like for the flexibility you may need for the Zazen position. And today I came up with some questions from some clients of mine. And so, like, as I have the honor to have you here and to ask like a real Zen master, in fact, I was thinking, wow, I've never talked to a real Zen master before, I think. You know, my master was a Theravada monk, so
Yes.
it's slightly different, I would say. But like reading-wise, my interest was mainly focused on Zen literature. So, yeah, so I am very happy to have you as such a knowledgeable person here. And yeah, so my question is, I had a customer, she was asking me, like, yeah, of course, a lot of people are looking for empty mind. Like it's very related to and connected to when people think about Zen, oh, I want to empty my mind. And your last workshop in my clinic in Mikage, I recorded the whole workshop with you, and I cut it into 6 pieces to upload it on YouTube, because in between we did meditation also.
Yes.
And the second part where you explain something about the mind when people are meditating and often think, oh, my mind is disturbing me, my thoughts are disturbing me, they are unhappy about this, and you explained that this is in fact like the kind of the goal or like a big achievement to become aware of the mind, which was the most viewed part of those series of 6 videos. And so I think this is not very common mind. So it's people always think, oh, I'm struggling because I'm full of thoughts. What I was thinking when my customer was like telling me that she's looking like for like to have a more empty mind, I was thinking like, yeah, maybe if she would just have a less tight schedule and just like be more in nature, or just like 2 weeks do almost nothing and just walk through the forest, then her mind will automatically be less full,
Yes.
like sitting wise, and then you would not come up with a lot of thoughts because you were just doing not as much. But then on the other hand side, I thought, well, but still maybe there are some thoughts who are connected to strong emotions, and you may even sit in a cave for 5 years and those traumas, I don't know, with parents or with relationships may still come up and work inside you, and you're sitting in that cave and still struggling with these thoughts. So yeah, so I mean, this is but maybe it's also just an illusion to look for an empty mind rather to organize the mind. I was thinking also yesterday by myself, because yeah, when I see like mind as a tool, like my muscles also like are working, like holding my posture the whole day, but so we are looking for relaxation. But if they would be like 100% relaxed, then we are kind of dead. Yeah, so because the muscles, or we like someone who don't connect to his muscles, you know, this kind of stroke or so, then that's not the goal. We usually are thinking about relaxation, so to get less tight, but usually we are thinking about the right tightness also. And maybe there's also something like that for our mind. Do you have some thoughts on that?
Probably a lot of people have heard this expression, empty mind. And I could imagine it's a translation of what in Japanese you called Mushin. Shin means mind, and Mu means, well, nothingness, emptiness. But I think it's a misunderstanding to think that, well, your mind is completely empty. There's only silence, quietness. Rather, Mu means a state of openness. So I would rather talk about an open mind, maybe a more balanced mind, a free mind. And just as you described, a lot of people experience that when you do Zazen, and you have this expectation, when I sit, my mind will become more quiet and maybe eventually an open mind. You realize all these thoughts and emotions and stuff that is in your mind, or that pops up in your mind, and maybe it's even more than during everyday life. Things that happened yesterday, that happened a week ago, maybe 3 years ago, maybe in your childhood, tend to come up. And I describe that, like, for example, now we two are talking and people that watch will hear our voices. But actually, the cicadas around the house are quite noisy. But probably you won't notice. If we would stay quiet, maybe you could hear some of the cicada noises. If we would meditate, we might be surprised. Wow, they are pretty noisy.
But did you recognize they just stopped being loud? Maybe they are very respectful.
Maybe. But it also happens that you think they quiet down, but it's only just because you're concentrating on your voice, what you want to say or what the other person is saying. Or like another example would be if you put ketchup on everything, you don't taste the real flavor of the thing that you're eating. If you remove the ketchup, then you taste the flavor of what you're eating. And maybe it doesn't taste as good as you expected. Maybe you prefer that McDonald's sauce that you're used to. And Zazen is a little bit like this. You remove the ketchup sauce, and now you're surprised, well, it doesn't taste as usual. I was expecting this very peaceful, quiet taste, flavor of Zazen, but there's all these things that you, until then, killed with this sauce that you put on everything. So, empty mind, what people call empty mind, first of all, is a mind that's open to all that is happening. But, of course, what you told your client, maybe for 2 weeks you quiet down, you go to the forest also. It's also true that, for example, you reduce the input, for example, from the internet. What I called putting ketchup on everything. Before you go to sleep, you check your iPhone again. That's like putting ketchup on the whole day, what happened. If you get up in the morning and first you check what's on your iPhone and you read the news, again, there's the ketchup sauce. And thus you eliminate the real flavor of the morning or of this time before you go into sleep. But of course, that doesn't mean that there should be no flavor, but it's rather tasting the flavor that all of the time you had been suppressing with this inner ketchup sauce or this kind of music. It's like some people, when they meditate, they put on meditation music. Tony Scott, music for Zen meditation, was something that's a record that was out in the 60s. There are no friends of mine that say, I can't meditate if I don't have my meditation music. But that's also like ketchup sauce. Like, if you meditate and there's a ambulance car passing your house, it makes a lot of noise, but that shouldn't disturb you. And if you're meditating and you remember things that happened in your childhood and you thought you had already forgotten them, it's part of the practice to, digest that, process that. It takes sometimes a lot of time, but empty mind doesn't mean to ignore that or push it to the side, but allow it to come up, give it space to digest, and eventually these things will disappear.
So like, so far what I understand, like reducing social media catch-up input, so to say, would be one important step. But I think a lot of people feel like, oh, that's impossible. Like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, people would say, no, I cannot skip the 8 o'clock Target show, like the German main news, if you are German, because that's just part of my daily life routine. But compared to that, nowadays, social media is like, uh, what is even better than ketchup? Sukiyaki sauce or something. I don't know. So many flavors, and it's so exciting. And then, yeah, our thoughts get attached to a lot of emotions, and then it's like a firework. And then we are looking every day for uh, better, for a nicer firework, for more. Yeah. So like looking at like normal people, I know you are a monk, and you committed your life to that, but I guess you also have contact like to normal people who go to work and can commit only like maybe maximum half an hour or so. So you would, I guess you would suggest like first to reduce that input from social media or media all over, and would you also say like would you have other suggestions too, like